5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.
All right. Happy Friday. We are here. I'm glad you're with me. It is a little bit after 4 o'clock on the East Coast of North America. I am, you're live with Neve, and we're glad to have you here. I have a great guest on today who will be joining us shortly. She is a tremendous musician. She's a good player. She's just all around cool person. And I just am thrilled to have her on. I became aware of Bunny Barnes about 3 years ago. And ever since, I've been enjoying her music and her presentation and her work ethic. I'm pretty sure you will too. So I'm going to get rid of all this stuff that's hiding me and get on with the show. Here we go. So it is, it's a happy day. It is her husband Steven's birthday. So we're going to be celebrating that. I'm going to spare him me singing any birthday songs for him. You know, you can't see me. Oh, yeah, there you go. How's everybody? I see you. So I'm going to have Bunny on, and she's going to play a bit, but we're just going to talk to her. I think you'll find her story just excellent. And good morning, Bunny. Oh, I don't hear you. Hold on.
There I am.
Oh, there you are.
It's going to be the 2020 through 23 phrase of the year. You're muted.
Oh my God, I'm muted. That happens. I just start having bad dreams about it at night.
Yeah.
It's almost like editing music or having video editing dreams at night. I think you know what I mean about that.
I do.
It keeps you awake, and
Yeah.
you start getting. I almost felt like I was getting hives a couple of times in the past month, but that's okay because you know what? At the end, you got to push through, and you got to win. And sometimes it's even a bloody win.
Keep trying.
Win. And speaking of winners, you are certainly in that category. Let's talk about your award.
Thank you. Well, my new CD is called "It Goes Like It Goes," and it's featuring Richard Smith. He's a fabulous guitarist. Mm-hmm. He's on 2 numbers, and Strings Fantastique, string quartet, plays on one of the numbers. Mm-hmm. And I released it at the Chet Atkins convention in July, and a lot of people were there from the Travis Center, the National Thumbpickers Home of the Legends. Mm-hmm. In Muhlenberg County, Kentucky, and many people bought it. And they called me in September and said, "We have some news for you. Your album just won Thumb Picking Recording of the Year."
How about it, people?
Blown away, just blown away. I can't begin to tell you how blessed I feel. I could not be at the ceremony, because I was playing the wedding of a former German student, my prior lifetime. And they told me that they said, whom would I like to accept the award? Would I like Tommy Emmanuel to accept it for me?
Wow.
And I said, absolutely.
He is just a phenomenal and unique individual and musician. I remember the first time someone asked me, "Have you ever heard of Tommy Emmanuel?" I said, "Oh yeah, I've heard him, and he's just unique. I mean, the guy his talent's just amazing." So tell us a little bit about your history with Tommy and how you started to. Hi, Gina.
Let me just say this first, that he and John Knowles were the ones to accept the award for me. Mm-hmm. Here's the trophy, my first ever trophy.
That you should have gotten a trophy for singing German and teaching kids the guitar. Heavy. That, in my opinion. Oh, look at this! We got somebody going to see Tommy.
Oh, cool, Gina.
Gina's out in LA. She gets to see all the cool shows.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
Gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, sure. Let me tell you a little about how I came to know Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was teaching German, and I'd been playing and singing guitar since I was 16, and I ended up with a bout of vocal cord cancer.
Oh, at a young age, that age.
No, well,
Oh,
no, not at 16. No, no, no.
no, okay.
I started learning when I was 16. My brother Steve
Mm-hmm.
taught me a little bit of guitar. He gave me a challenge when I was young, and he said to me, let me go back a little history on this for you.
Mm-hmm.
My brother Steve played guitar, and he was going to France, and I said, please teach me guitar. I was 16, and
Mm-hmm.
he said, well, look, here's a tune, and he gave me a copy of Freight Train. He gave me a cassette recorder and the cassette and his guitar, and he said, if you can learn this in 6 weeks when I come back from France, and then I'll teach you my guitar. And I said, okay. So
Yeah, nice.
he handed me Freight Train, the hardest tune he knew, and I
What are
sat down
brothers for?
yes, of course. I sat down, and when he came back, I said, yo, Steve, listen to this. And I played Freight Train for him.
I think,
And
boy, was there a look of shock? Was he humbled?
sure, yeah, it was, oh, darn, now I have to teach my little sister guitar.
I think that's just a great story.
But it worked out great because over that following year, when he was teaching me his entire course, the next year he went off to France again. And the guy who ran the studio where he was teaching said, yo, Steve, you can't keep going off to France and leaving me with a roster of students. He said, no problem. My little sister knows everything I know. And at 17, I started teaching guitar.
That's just wow. That's like, talk about an accelerated course learning experience. The fact that none of this 2-year master or 3-year master's program that you're just slaving away. That's really incredible.
Hey, let me play a little bit of that for you.
All right, everybody, here we have the wonderful Bunny Barnes.
This Freight Train.
Man, that is so sweet. That's just really nice. I mean,
yeah, I mean, that was, of course I played a little more simple than that.
Sure.
But that was my first real instrumental.
I have to give it off. My first instrumental was Smoke on the Water. So I kind of, you remember everybody going into a music store throughout the 70s, they'd have a sign up, no Deep Purple, no Smoke on the Water.
And
generations of youngsters. So I remember in our earlier talk when we were doing our pre-show a couple of times, and it's funny though. I recall you telling me that you're a drummer, and I found that really interesting. Did you like Karen Carpenter back then? Did that?
Of course, my hair was down to my waist, and she was the first girl drummer.
And she was very underrated, I have to say. People who don't realize how good she was. She was like a Buddy Rich kind of a protege. She did a lot of really great handwork. I mean, incredibly fast, and it's amazing. What a tragic story! It really is a horrible thing. Having an eating disorder and all that. And I guess back in those days, nobody knew what that was. Like today, it's had even I know what it is, but. Having raised 2 daughters, I'm familiar with it. The scariness of that being out there,
sure,
as a dad.
I was in a lot of different bands when I first started playing. I had a girl band. We were called the Torresdale Junction, and it was 4 of us. We all sang. We all played guitar, a little tambourine, and we did harmonies like California Dreamin' and things like that. And during that time, 3 of us broke off and started another band with 3 rock guys.
Okay.
And that was my first time that I met somebody who was interested in teaching me drums. When I was in high school, I asked the band teacher about learning drums, and he said, we don't want any girl drummers. Honest to God.
I can totally believe that. I have no doubt. They want you to play flute or something, or
Yeah, exactly. And
that's funny.
I was really always wanting to play. And
Hmm.
so I was in this band. It was probably I was probably 20, 21, around that
Hmm.
age, early 21. And he had taught me different beats to play, and I played Darkness, Darkness, and sang the harmony.
All right.
Yeah, I sang the backing harmony with that while I was playing. And when I turned 21, the first thing I did when I got my first German teaching job,
Hmm.
because I did go to school to become a German teacher. Somebody said way back, "Don't give up your day job. Get a
Oh,
don't
that's
be
right.
just be a
Right.
musician."
Hmm.
So for 37 years, I taught German, and with my first paycheck, I went out and I bought a drum set it up in my mom's living room.
Oh, I'll bet mom was thrilled about that.
Oh, she was a music person. She loved it,
I think
and
that's great. My mom would have approved too. She would have been
yeah,
like, "Ah,
yeah,
set it up. Come on, we got to
yeah,
get
of
something
course.
going." That's
And,
great.
and like a month later, I asked my brother Mark if I could go out and play gigs with him because he's a piano keyboard man.
Right.
And he said, sure. So we went out and did a duo, and it was just like Richard and Karen Carpenter.
I think
You know?
that's phenomenal. I'm actually, I found a great keyboard player. I had a guest on this morning who may be the answer to that. I had a phenomenal keyboard player on this morning, and Carlton, wherever you're at, I hope you're watching the show, Carlton. He has a harpsichord that he rebuilt, and it just sounds so great. And I learned something. I did not realize that they pluck the note on a harpsichord
Oh, wow, yeah.
it's
I
like
have
a
no idea.
quill. And I love all kinds of esoteric instruments. I did a large church over in Philadelphia a few years ago. It had a pipe organ, and they had a chorale, carillon, excuse me.
Carillon.
And
Yeah,
it was
sure.
incredible. I've
They're
all my
amazing.
life wanted to go, and one of my clients in Florida was the Bach Tower, which has one. And it was just amazing. I always heard it and I wanted to play it. And of course, at that place, they're like, don't touch it. Don't even
For,
get near it.
for years, the Carillon factory was about 2 minutes away from me.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Did they have one built there that you'd hear it being
No, I
tested?
was never in it. I
Okay.
never did a tour, so I don't know.
Yeah. I have to tell you, I just played the intro to Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It's a Mussorgsky piece. Dun, 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 dun. And for about 3 minutes, I just felt like the biggest Mac Daddy in the world. I was like, oh, I could get used to this. It's so simple. Even a drummer can do it. I get the beat on it. And, it was really an interesting experience. Yeah. Would you like to play some more?
Well, maybe I'll tell you a little bit about how I met Tommy. Is that all right?
That sounds great.
Yeah. So I did teach German for a very long time, and it was total of 37 years. And I always played guitar and I sang in coffee shops, mostly solo. I did drums for about 20 years with a band, and you get to a point where you don't want to schlep them around anymore.
I could totally, absolutely relate.
So I started doing solos in coffee shops, singing and playing.
Mm-hmm.
And around 2006, I was doing a gig nearby, and I lost my voice. And wow, I was like, I went to the doctor, laryngitis. I just thought, laryngitis, case laryngitis. And they said, well, you take some prednisone and you'll be fine. And I did. I took a bunch of prednisone. I went home and I played a gig that night. And like after the 3-hour gig, my voice was gone again. And so they recommended that I go see a voice specialist. And they found out that I had a tumor on my vocal cord.
Wow.
And yeah, so
scary. Now, did you notice that while you were singing? Did you feel something just kind of odd at all?
Nope. I just had no voice. Yeah, I just lost my voice. And they told me to go on voice rest, and I had a month of voice rest, which is a real challenge as a German teacher.
I bet.
And as a singer, of course. And so I did that, and when I finally went to the surgeon, the voice specialist, the otolaryngologist, they found the tumor. And it had to be removed, of course. So
sure.
It kept coming back because it's cancer, It does
yeah,
that. And so I had 4 surgeries in 1 year, and I was pretty darn depressed.
I bet you were.
One thing that really made me happy, though, one thing that would keep me from just wanting to smash my guitar against a tree because I couldn't sing anymore, and I was watching Tommy's videos because he's always
True.
happy.
That's true. He's always got a smile on his face.
He's always amazing, yeah. And he's not really a singer. He does
Mm-hmm.
sing some now, but his
Right.
earlier videos, he wasn't singing at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could watch him and not have to hear a voice singing. That really, really
That inspired
bothered
you.
me
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't sing anymore. I didn't want to
Wow.
even hear people sing.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched him over and over again, and I decided to write him a letter. So
Mm-hmm.
I sat down and I wrote him my history. I told him that when I was a kid, I followed Doc Watson. I learned to play his tunes. I learned to write Braille so I could meet Doc. And
Wow.
and now here I am, so many years later, and I can't sing and play guitar like I used to. And I just want to take my guitar and smash it against the nearest tree. 3 days after I sent that letter, Tommy called me. And he said he felt really blessed to have gotten my letter, and he
Wow.
hoped that I'm healing. And he wanted to hear me play when he was in town in 6 months.
Nice.
It was a gauntlet, It was like my brother giving me the challenge of learning Freight Train. Here was
Right.
Tommy Emmanuel, the great Tommy Emmanuel, saying, "I want to hear you play in 6 months." So I started learning his
Wow.
tunes, and good to his word, I met him in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Played a couple tunes for him, and he was saying things like, "Wow, I've heard some people play that, and I haven't heard anybody play that better than you just did." And but I would, I would do this, and in this tune, I would do this a little bit way, and show me
Mm-hmm.
some different positions, and it just started me on really delving into instrumental guitar, and really becoming the guitarist that let my guitar be my voice.
Well, you definitely do that very well, and I think just your work ethic. I've told you that before, and I for everybody out there, if you're like myself, a seasoned citizen, and you're sitting around, and you think, well, I'd like to play, but everybody's told me I'm terrible, or you've tried it and your fingers hurt. If your fingers hurt, keep doing it.
Absolutely, don't go numb. You won't feel it. That's
Yep,
what I used
the
to tell
pain
my
will be
students.
good, and you'll get through it.
I
Hey,
used to tell
Brian,
my
what's happening, man? Sorry, got to
I
say
used
hello to Brian.
Hey, Brian. I
He's
know
out in
Brian.
Los Angeles with us. We had a hell of a time. The
So-
Brian and Brian show.
And
was
Toby's
one of the
here
high
too.
points.
Hey, Toby.
The whole gang's
Showing it.
here.
So I used to tell my students the same thing. Keep playing. Your fingers will go numb, and you won't feel it.
That's right. Just go run around the track 6 times when you're done too. Taking drum lessons with Neil. You got to get your aerobic activity up. What? You give me a look? 7 more. Go. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to practice paradiddles here. Talk to your mom. No. So, do you do any teaching right now?
I don't. I taught guitar through about 1980.
Mm-hmm.
I taught German through 2011.
Okay.
And but I got the vocal cord cancer in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
I had 5 surgeries in 2.5 years.
And now all is well. You're in complete remission.
I'm good.
And life is
Not
good.
good.
Wow.
Not good. Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
We all know health is wealth, and if you
Found
have
an
it, it's
amazing doctor in Cleveland Clinic,
okay.
Marshall
Great.
Strome,
Marshall
who
Stone.
actually cured me with cryosurgery. And I'm very
I
blessed.
hats off to him.
Found him.
My daughter's also in the medical profession, and those folks are really special people. Especially
Absolutely.
the good. I mean, the good ones are really great. And like
Absolutely.
in any trade, we always have occasional crab. But
Sure.
my sense of humor, if they come in and get crabby with me when I'm hooked up to stuff, I just like terrorize them a little bit until they smile. And then once they smile, I'm like, okay, you can do more of that now.
Once you smile, it's good.
It always is good. But I understand too. I do my best to be a good patient for him. I was in a room with a guy once, and I heard him going on and on with his therapist and his team, so to speak. I was just like, man, you better be nice to these people. They're gonna make your day miserable, gosh. But so
Thanks, Toby.
What are you up to these days?
Well, I'm playing a lot of gigs, and the most important things that have happened to me were going to the Chet Atkins convention, and that's
Mhm.
where I released my new CD.
Right.
That's where I released this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in Kentucky bought it, and the National Thumb Pickers Hall of Fame, I asked them when they called me to say that I had won this award.
Mm-hmm.
I asked them, how did that happen? And they have awards for Thumb Picker of the Year and Living Thumb Picker of the Year, Deceased Thumb Picker of the Year, Supporting Fan, Best Group, Best Supporting Musician in Group, and Thumb Picking Recording of the Year. I said, well, how did they even get my name? He said, well, it's all write-in ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, there were 320 board members, and that meant that more people had to write in the name of my CD. They had
Wow.
to take the time to write in the name of my CD for me to win this award. And that just blew my mind. I mean,
That's just some divine intervention,
I'm
hopefully.
so grateful to people like Eddie Pennington who spread my name around there, Joe Hudson, who runs the Thumb Picking Hall of Fame, Marilyn Kirtley, who's the mother of all things Travis. All those people who really believed in me and bought my CD and listened to it and thought it was that great enough to be among the names of all these fabulous thumb pickers, Richard Smith and Tommy Emmanuel, John Knowles, all these people who have won it in the past, Parker Hastings, that just amazing thumb pickers. To be in that category is such an honor for me. Yeah.
Well, you've worked very hard, and I think like a lot of people who are musicians into their later life, starting when we're younger is one of those factors that can't be. I mean, I just still enjoy it like I did when I was a kid. Sit and play music with my friends.
Well, it's different with me, but this is still the same feeling. I mean, it used to be singing, but now my guitar is singing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and it really does.
Thanks, Toby. Yeah, he does love my CD.
Lawrence is great, and he's another just unique guitar player. I love the way he plays. I love when he does his shows, even if he's not doing one today. Like sometimes around this time of day when the show's over, girlfriend hasn't come home, I'll put on one of his shows and just let it play because it's such great. It's just relaxing, and he's such a. He's a magic guitar player.
It's funny. It's funny you should say that because somebody said that about my CD the other day. I had sent actually one of my brother Steve's current guitar students, and she ordered the CD and she wrote me an email and said, "I have been waiting for this CD most of my life. It's
nice.
the most."
You gotta put that in the liner notes.
It's the most relaxing CD that I've ever had. Other people have said, I put it up on in the car. When I'm driving and there's a lot of road rage around me, it's your CD that calms me down.
Keeps you level. Well, music, I have to say, I have a wide taste in music, but I tell you, even going to hear some really great classical music or something can still get me just chills.
Yeah.
And they say that only a certain percentage of people can experience that frisson from music, but it's like when I was a kid, I remember the first time seeing an orchestra and it blew me away. I was just sitting there and I got all goosebumpy. I didn't know what was happening. It's like, wow.
Amazing. Music is such a powerful thing.
It's
a
really
universal language.
When people tell me they're having a hard time, we all do sometimes, you mess a bill, your car, you get a flat, and then any number of things can just make your day go to hell in a handbasket. But I've found when I have my friends who've suffered from depression and stuff, and I'll remind them, listen, I only know what works for me. If I turn on some music that I really like and stuff that I like to sing in particular, it's impossible to sing 2 songs at full voice and really sing it, because that's the problem I have is I have to sing at full voice. I'm not one of these gifted singers who can do all kinds of great vocal slides and things. I get it done. That's the bottom line. Right. I had a singer who quit and learned to make sure we never ever have that happen, where if a singer quits, we're stuck. I can still do 100, 200 songs, and if they leave, well, see ya. Guess you could have done it. I'd pay you if you'd stick around for a few more hours, but
right.
So what's next for Bunny Barnes? Are you working on a new record?
Well, I did this past year. I played the convention, the Chet Atkins convention. I played at the Philadelphia Folk Fest, which for me was just amazing. I'm a Philly girl. I mean, I grew up in Philly, and I started going to the Folk Fest when I was 16.
Wow!
And never imagined that I might play the Folk Fest. And they had open mics for the past couple of years through the pandemic. And one of the open mics that I attended online, they said, all right, tonight is a contest. And you're going to, if you win, you'll get a slot at the Philadelphia Folk Fest. So I'm hoping that I'll get to do that again. Recently, I also opened for Muriel Anderson, who is an amazing harp guitarist.
I watched that of you playing with her, and I just love the sound of you guys together.
What a thrill to be able to, an honor to be able to open for somebody like her.
She's a tremendous player. For those of you who don't know what a harp guitar is, it's a guitar. It looks similar to Bunny's, except it has a whole section
which is 7 strings up here that are drone strings, and then down here she has another 6 strings attached to her guitar down here. Another 6 strings that are also tuned to a certain pitch, and so you can fret the regular guitar as you normally would, but you add the bass strings or the
you play them sort of like you would on a 12-string. They drum sometimes, or you can.
When you pluck them, they play us whatever note it's tuned to.
Right. I love anything with strings and is complicated. I have a bunch of zithers and all these old devices around. I just like to look at them, and I'm going to fix one of them. I have a bowed psaltery that I want to fix and tune. I guess my 12 strings is not like annoying and irritating to tune and change the strings on. God, it's like I'm a drummer. I hate doing that stuff.
Well, so I'd like to tell you a little bit about the CD that I have now. Yeah, sure. I am thinking about a Christmas or holiday, Hanukkah, Christmas CD as well. I've been asked, people who have my CD now have said, have I been working on anything? And I have been thinking about that. But I really want to give this CD its due. And maybe work on a new CD for next year. I want to tell you about the cover tune on this. It's called It Goes Like It Goes. And when I had vocal cord cancer, it was very traumatic for me. And one of the tunes that kept running through my head was, Toby, I see your question. I don't go to the Folk Alliance, but I've just been in contact with somebody who might want to promote it and get it on the folk scene. So yeah, I'm working on that. If you have any hints for me about how to get my CD and my music out there, it's on Airplay. For any DJs that are out there, if you're a member of Airplay Direct, you can just download it straight away from Airplay Direct, along with the liner notes and the CD cover itself.
Airplay Direct. I'm making a note of that.
Airplay Direct, yep. It's for DJs, and you can download it right away from that.
Excellent.
But when I was suffering, the one song that I kept running on a loop through my head was It Goes Like It Goes. And this was the theme song to the movie Norma Ray. If you're familiar with that, the movie Norma Ray was about union struggles and how Norma Ray was fighting for equal rights and equal pay and great working conditions, or better working conditions, And the catchphrase in the song is, maybe what's good gets a little bit better, and maybe what's bad gets gone.
Love that. Great line.
And, that line, when I was really, really sick, that's the line that kept, because it didn't relate to union, but it sure could relate to cancer too.
Absolutely.
And it kept running through my head. And I kept thinking, when I come through this on the other side, I'm going to have to learn that tune. Yeah, and of course, since I couldn't sing, I was thinking about the instrumental. And I saw a guitarist named John Jones. Don is a lefty. He takes his guitar and turns it upside down, plays left-handed.
And he plays it that way without
left-handed upside down, yeah.
I've known a couple of people in my life who do that. A friend of mine's a lefty, and he would always pick up a right-handed guitar and just flip it up, and he could do pretty well on it.
Well, Don does that, and I heard him play a version of this tune, and I just sat there and wept. Wow. Because when he was done, he said, "You know that song?" Because it's not really well known.
Sure.
And I said, "I do. Maybe what's good gets a little bit better, and maybe what's bad gets gone." He said, "Yeah, that's it."
I like that line and wish I had coined it.
I thought that I really have to make an arrangement of this, and But I wanted in the version that written by Norman Gimbel and David Shire, that the version that Jennifer Warrens does is an orchestral background,
Right.
and the introduction and the instrumental breaks are very dissonant, and that's to express the struggle that they were going through. And when Don did the version, he didn't really have that in the breaks or the introduction. And so I asked my brother Mark if he could round up the sheet music for me, which he did, but I don't read music. That said, my husband Stephen does read music. And so he was able to read that introduction and come up with those notes that were dissonant.
Wow. Does he play guitar as well?
He does. He's a classical guitarist, yes.
That's great.
Yeah,
awesome.
we've done some gigs together on occasion, and we're thinking of maybe doing I do these live two for Friday at 4 Eastern time, and we're thinking of maybe doing a holiday twofer, and maybe we might do a couple tunes together. Yeah,
the holiday season's coming up at rapid speed. I'm going to be having a lot of holiday music in the month of December, so I'd be honored if you'd consider coming back. And
absolutely,
joining us for a song.
Sure, I'd love to.
It's holiday music, so we're open. Whatever you celebrate, we'd love to have it. And
sure, I've been working on my holiday tunes for my gigs. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I know I've been calling everybody, and we're all in that frame of mind right now.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. You got it.
Great. Well, super. Would you like? Go ahead. Let's talk a little more about the album.
Yeah. So when I got the sheet music and my husband worked on it with me, he started working on the introduction for me, and then I've kind of finished the introduction and worked on the breaks, and it was kind of a group effort. The arrangement is from Don Jones. It's from my husband Stephen, from me as well. And this is the title cut on the CD. It goes like it goes.
Everybody, Bunny Barnes, title cut. Oh man, that is just so sweet. What a great job, Bunny. I know you've been
Goes like it
practicing and
goes.
tearing it up. Boy,
Thank you.
that is really sweet. Gosh,
Thank
I
you.
mean, excellent. I'm sitting here just smiling away. I'm like, sometimes I have the best job in the world. I really do. I love it. Just sitting around and hearing great talent. That was phenomenal.
The tune just gives me goosebumps. It really does.
Thank you, Stan and Brian and Toby and
Thank you. Hey, Stan Zider.
man. I'll tell you what, you guys are all the best audience if anybody could ask for. I have to say, really a great bunch of people who follow some of this various circle of people that we seem to run into regularly.
I want to thank everybody. I mean, Gina and Rick and Toby, everybody for coming today. It's really,
You know,
really sweet. We got a late start, so none of the folks from my normal live are here, and I don't know if they were able to find it or not.
oh boy, well,
But
what, you know what? I'll send you a link. We have to get some traction on this. This is some
yeah,
great stuff.
there's Jan Anderson. Hey, you found me.
There we go.
Jan Anderson did the cover photo for
Oh,
this.
hey,
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
to
she's
meet
a
you,
great
Jan.
photographer. Yeah,
How are you? Well,
fabulous.
so tell me, what is your favorite cut on the record? That's kind of a hard thing to decide, I know, because you struggle with
Um,
all of them. It's like
it
picking a
is,
favorite
you
kid.
know, I don't. It's not that it really. Let me read you the cuts on it. How's that?
That
Because I
sounds
think that
great.
everybody, it's a really wide variety of tunes,
Mm-hmm.
and there's really something for everybody. It's City of New Orleans, Mad World, Desperado, little Elvis, Can't Help Falling in Love with You, a real oldie from 1926, I'll See You in My Dreams, Hallelujah, who doesn't like Leonard Cohen,
Yeah, really.
Beatles, 8 Days a Week, a track from Dvorak, a classical track called Going
Nice.
Home, and
Mm-hmm.
that's with the string quartet. I'll See You with My Dreams is with Richard Smith. Another Beatles tune, Here, There, and Everywhere. And
Okay.
these are mostly all my arrangements.
Mm-hmm.
I have a kids selection on here, Rainbow Connection, and Sesame Street. Sesame Street is my husband's arrangement.
It's interesting. I just had an author on who's also a musician, and she teaches kids how to speak English or Spanish using song. And
ESL.
tremendous educator. Really, I liked her a lot. She just had whatever it is. We all have those teachers who are special in our life,
Yeah.
and I have a couple. Wherever you are, Rosemary Wood, thank you for being the bane of my existence in boarding school. I would write something and think I'd written the newest Tolstoy novel, and she'd go, "You're not Tolstoy, okay? I've seen you before. You probably wrote this last night, had your girlfriend spell check it." And I'm just sitting there like, how the hell does she know that?
Yeah,
She's
really.
only seen like generations of kids go through, and she knew that I had a little talent, but she thought I thought I had a lot of talent. Typical male drummer kind of thing. I'm like, oh, wait, I'm gonna ace this. She's like, no, and I weight the grade. You're kind of smart, so you're gonna have to really work for an A. She told me. I was just like, you got to be kidding me. I thought I could just sit in the back and read Modern Drummer and kind of skate along, But no, we had a 1-to-10 student ratio, and she pegged me the first day so perfectly that it scared me. I thought, how does she know my habit?
I did that when I was teaching German. I did a lot of that. I taught the verb to be to song. I taught prepositions to song. I taught the pronouns to song. Hey, Byron. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm glad you like Going Home. But I did that, and I just got a comment. One of my former students bought my CD, and he posted it on Facebook and said he wanted to thank Frau Barnes. They called me Frau.
I love Frau Barnes.
He wanted to thank Frau Barnes for inspiring him not only with German, but I was the first one to inspire him in music because I would bring the guitar into class.
That's
what a great thing for a teacher to hear, huh?
I could feel the sentimentality when I read what you read, and I said, I bet she teared up on this one.
I did. I was crying.
I can imagine. Okay, Slim, nice.
Hey,
for
Slim.
everybody here who's courtesy
Slim
of
had a
Bunny.
great set. What I heard of Slim's set was great too. He's a guitarist, as was Warren. They're both guitarists.
Great. Well, thank you for your guests here from Bunny's show. I appreciate you stopping in to see her. I really do. It's always nice to see some new faces.
I appreciate it.
And,
so do. So going on with the CD, besides Sesame Street, there's Never Neverland. I don't know if you know Never Neverland. It's the theme song from Peter Pan.
Oh, I bet it's good, great stuff.
Gorgeous tune. That was partly arranged by Raleigh Brown. He's another great guitarist. She's
Oh
had
yeah,
on
he is good.
Raleigh
Another
Brown,
one of
and I
Toby's
arranged it.
people
But
she turned me on to.
yeah, and then I have a what I call my Julie Andrews medley. It's Chim Chim Cheree and
Uh-huh.
My Favorite Things. And then I do a tune that was sung by Louis Armstrong. Unfortunately, he never lived long enough to see it become a hit.
Mm-hmm.
What a Wonderful World.
What a
It was,
great song. It's
yeah.
just that is.
And then the last one is probably one of my favorites. Is Angie.
By the
Not
Stones.
the Rolling Stones.
Oh, okay.
No, this one's by Davy Graham,
Mm-hmm.
and it was recorded by. It was 1964. He wrote it. Davy Graham wrote it. And it was recorded by John Renbourn.
Great
And
guitar player.
Paul Simon did a version of it as well, and Clive
Okay.
Carroll. And that's probably my most favorite cut on it. Probably one of the ones that people like to hear the most.
I would think so. That's just such a great song and interpreted. Would you consider playing Wonderful live? Have you got?
Well, I could do that, or I could do Angie, or I could do them both. How's that?
Let's have you do them both, because we're getting near the end of the show, and rather than me
Right.
ask silly questions, you're just such a good artist. I'd rather listen to you play than me talk. I'm sure
Right,
the audience would too.
So here's What a Wonderful World.
All right, Bunny Barnes, everybody, sing along.
What a wonderful world.
You know that what a wonderful world, and I just love it. God, I mean, let's just tell you that it's just so damn good.
Thanks for all the good
We
comments.
got people in the audience tearing up. We've got what a great song. There
Thank
you go,
you, guys.
people. I tell you, when I worked at Muzak, I used to give a talk, and it made me a fair amount of money. It was called "The Emotional Power of Music" and its impact on us
Really?
day to day. And I'd ask people, do you remember your first kiss? And of course, everybody remembers that. I'd say, what was your favorite song that you used to listen to? And almost
Right.
everybody in the audience could. For me, it was Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith. I just remember my girlfriend and I listened to that record all the time. And so it was kind of one of those memory things. Whenever I hear it, I go back to those days when I was young and naive. The world awaited my talents and, wasn't the cynical old sausage that I become over 60 odd years on the planet. But that's okay. I tell you what, wow is how I would put it, Gina. That was just the best.
Thank you.
And it really warmed my heart. I can't wait to go upstairs and play it for my girlfriend later, which is cool. She can't hear it. She's home with the affliction that I picked up out in California.
Spread it around.
But I'll be back in action, and she will too. So.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about this first, because I know that some people out there are wanting to know. I can just feel it. This is a Maton guitar. It's an EBG 808.
Beautiful.
The Kangaroo was a gift from Tommy. It doesn't come with the Kangaroo.
I love it.
And then here's the body of it. It's just a beautiful sounding. It's Sitka spruce top with Australian blackwood for the back and sides. And just the sound and the playing ability. It's got a 1 1/4 inch, 1 3/4 inch neck, and it's
the tone quality is it's one of the best guitars I've heard.
It's just
right
amazing.
Out of the box.
I get so many great comments on this guitar that I can't. I never know what to say. They say, "Wow, what guitar is that? Is that a Martin?" No, I have a Martin, and I love Martins, but the neck is a little bit too narrow for me. I really like the little bit of a wider neck. And the capo, by the way, is a Thalia capo. Now, I would not normally, they're really pricey capos. I normally would not be using a Thalia capo, but my brother Mark bought it for me for my birthday.
Right. That's very nice.
So
we have a request here from one of your fans. Slim Edelman would like to hear Mine Was Maybe by the Chantels.
Oh, I don't do that one, Slim. But I will. I mean, I want to play another tune from the CD, and maybe I have to learn that one, Slim. I'll keep that one in mind. There you go. But maybe I can hear you play it first.
There you go. In fact, I'll have to call Slim up now that I know he's another player.
Slim's another guitarist.
Yes. Imagine that, some guitar players watching this show of all.
I know Warren's guitarist.
We've got about 6 minutes left, so
let me do a little Angie for you.
That sounds great.
This is the one that was written by Davy Graham.
All right.
You might recognize it from Paul Simon's version too.
I think I remember the Paul Simon version.
And let me just preface this with, this is my arrangement, and it's probably not as the composer intended, as Chet Atkins used to say, but I've made it my own. And as most of the arrangements on the CD, they're my arrangements.
Great. Thank you, Toby. Want to play? Man, you've been listening to Bunny Barnes on Live with Neve. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next week. Thank you, Bunny. Thank you, everybody in the audience. Oh, man, this is all right, everybody. We'll see you next week. You've been on Live with Neve. See you next time. Bunny, you're the best.
BunnyBarnes.com. Go get a CD.
That was great. Check out Bunny Barnes online, and we will see you next week.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.